Information security broadly encompasses the protection of an organization's information assets against misuse, disclosure, unauthorized access, or destruction. Many threats to information security arise both inside and outside the organization. They can be natural events or human-made, accidental, or deliberate. With countless threats and limited budgets, organizations can't eliminate all risks, must make careful assessments to manage them. Risk managers consider many issues, beginning with a clear understanding of what information assets need protection. Laws play a large role, requiring organizations to safely secure medical records, financial information, social security numbers, academic records, and other sensitive data. Governments must secure classified documents, and companies must protect their trade secrets. Human-made threats barrage servers and desktop computers every day with automated attempts to install all types of malware, malicious software which is designed to attack computer systems. Many attacks are launched by criminal gangs that build and manage thousands of botnets. The term combines robot and network and refers to a collection of computers that have been compromised by malware, often through some vulnerability in their software or operating system. The gangs activate botnets to capture user IDs, passwords, credit card numbers, social security numbers, and other sensitive information. Another grave threat posed by the botnets is the distributed denial of service attacks, in which zombie computers are directed to flood a single site with rapid-fire page requests, causing it to slow down or crawl or just plain crash. Denial of service attacks cost organizations many millions of dollars in downtime, lost business, and lost client goodwill. Because botnets mask the actual source of the millions of incoming messages, they are often used for phishing attacks. These typically start with an email which cleverly lures taxpayers to click on a link. Recipients land on what appears to be a genuine website, where they innocently type in their social security number and other personal details. The threat of information leaks comes not just from cybercriminals. Employees can lose laptops and smartphones, mail containing backup media may go astray, and people may drop unshredded sensitive documents into the dumpster. It can come from anywhere. An organization's risk assessment must examine its vulnerabilities to determine how effective its existing security measures are. Once it has analyzed its vulnerabilities, the organization can evaluate controls that fill in security gaps and protect against specific threats. Industry standards are often used for this step. Vulnerability depends on how likely any particular event may be. Risks also differ depending on the threat. The risk matrix lists the vulnerabilities in a table, and managers rate the level of risk each one presents in areas such as confidentiality, company reputation, finances, system availability, and operations. The matrix also includes an estimate of how likely that event may be and may add other metrics to further refine the analysis. The matrix helps managers focus on the vulnerabilities that pose the greatest potential dangers to the organization. Administrative security controls include all the processes, policies, and plans the organization creates to enhance information security and ensure it can recover if things go awry. Some controls may establish information security policies that restrict the internet sites employees can visit, or whether they can use internet at all. The processes and policies that control employee access to systems are some of the most sensitive. Industries that routinely handle sensitive information will need to put very strict policies in place and ensure employees adhere to them. Administrative controls extend beyond the organization to its vendors, suppliers, and customers because they all could pose potential threats. To avoid chaos, missteps, and communication failures, the organization should also have a clear incident response team that staff use to categorize the threat, determine the cause, preserve any evidence, and also get the systems back online so the organization can resume business. Technical controls for preventing unauthorized access draw on technologies that can authenticate people and determine what access privileges they should be granted. Most authentication strategies rely on something the user knows, something the user has in his or her possession, or something the user is. Biometric identifiers are also widely used. Multi-factor authentication combines two or more authentication strategies, creating much stronger security against unauthorized access to sensitive information. A powerful technical control that protects sensitive data is encryption. This process transforms the data by using mathematical formulas so that no one can read it unless they know the key to unscrambling it. For internet transmission, a popular strategy is public key encryption, which uses a pair of keys, one to encrypt the data and the other to decrypt it. One key is public, widely shared with everyone, but the other is private, known only to the recipient. Many more tools are available now to prevent unauthorized traffic from entering the network and to detect any intrusions that do make it through. The most important defense is the firewall, a technical control that inspects incoming and outgoing traffic and either blocks or permits it according to the rules the organization establishes. Firewall systems include features to detect suspicious events or breaches and alert managers immediately. Spam constitutes an estimated 90% of email traffic, and intrusion prevention systems control this costly menace. The trend for businesses to move toward cloud computing, where their mission-critical applications and data are hosted by a service off-site and accessed via the internet, is largely driven by cost savings and convenience. IT managers worry about security for cloud computing and whether cloud providers can adequately protect the organization's most valuable assets. A movement is underway to develop security standards and best practices for cloud computing, along with transparent auditing mechanisms that will help assure potential clients that their information will be safe. The Cloud Security Alliance is a nonprofit organization that brings experts together to develop standards and controls that parallel those already required for e-commerce and medical records. The IT community holds mixed views on how safe their data will be in the cloud, and the fate of this architectural trend may well depend on robust security. The sheer complexity of computers and information systems challenges even the brightest humans, and it is not surprising that people will turn off their security features for a few minutes to install software. We prefer to apply our cognitive skills to productive pursuits, and when security policies and procedures seem to get in the way, we may bypass them. The limits of human memory and patience make the password, the most widely used authentication strategy, a serious vulnerability. On their own, people tend to create very weak passwords that are easy to remember, but also easy to crack. Although technical controls can force users to embed numbers and non-alphabetic characters and change them frequently, the results are still not promising. Users then tend to write passwords down and reuse them on multiple systems, even far less secure systems such as online games and news sites. The cognitive roadblock to strong passwords is just the capacity of human memory. To reduce the cognitive load associated with multiple passwords, many organizations implement the single sign-on, which is a gateway service that permits users to log in once with a single user ID and password and gain access to multiple software applications. Social engineering manipulates people into breaking normal security procedures or divulging confidential information. Humans are tempting targets for those with malicious intent who understand such behavior. One weak spot is the human desire to do a favor or help others. People routinely pass virus-laden hoaxes along to friends and neighbors, trying to be helpful. Respect for authority is another common human tendency that intruders use, relying on uniform titles or just verbal hints that the company president wants something done. Humans are certainly not immune to greed, and scammers tap this human frailty routinely to persuade people to turn over confidential information. Organizations should have robust security awareness programs to help educate and continually remind people about the risks that lax security presents. The program should cover the organization's own policies and procedures, as well as applicable laws and regulations about how information should be handled to ensure compliance. Beyond meeting legal compliance requirements, a security awareness program should also alert people to the many ways in which social engineering can exploit human tendencies toward kindness, helpfulness, greed, or just productivity. It should also provide training and tools such as encryption and help people spot areas in which breaches might occur. Finally, it should also reinforce the principle that the organization has an ethical responsibility to maintain information security. Consider the extent of harm each of these actions might inflict on other people, from customers, employees, and students to stakeholders and citizens. How would you judge the actions of these people? A sales rep copies customer data to her smartphone and quickly drops it into a jacket pocket. Corporate policy forbids taking confidential documents out of the building. but she just wants to work on them at home to catch up. She leaves her jacket on the subway, but says nothing to her supervisor about the incident. A sixth grader finds a USB flash drive in his school computer and sees the names and addresses of all the students and teachers. He uploads it to his social networking account so all his friends have contact information. Another good example. A university employee looks up old academic records of political candidates and sends some provocative tidbits to the press. Coworker suspects an employee of accessing illicit websites at work, but hesitates to mention it because it might get the employee in big trouble. Worried about some email he exchanged with a supplier that might show a conflict of interest and get the company in legal trouble, the CFO asked someone in IT to delete his whole email account from the server and backup media. You can see where all of these scenarios cause potential issues for the employer. In summary, ethics is a system of moral principles used to judge right from wrong. One ethical framework focuses on the fundamental rights and rules, and a second, called utilitarianism, emphasizes the consequences of actions. Information ethics focuses on the storage and transmission of digitized data and raises both ethical and legal issues. Privacy is under considerable pressure because of the growing volume of personal information online, the complexity of privacy settings and privacy policies, and users' willingness to trade privacy for convenience. Information security ensures the protection of an individual's information assets against misuse, disclosure, unauthorized access, or destruction. Organizations use risk management to identify assets needing protection, identify threats, assess vulnerabilities, and determine the impact of each risk. And human beings prize productivity highly and may neglect security when it interferes. Social engineering tactics take advantage of human behavior tendencies to manipulate people into disclosing sensitive information. Training in security awareness and ethical decision-making can help counteract these weaknesses in your organization. Thank you for joining. This is the end of Chapter 10.